I woke up in the morning feeling some BG3 energy. Not really. I just happened to see a Discord post from the Larian Studios official Discord. And I always get excited when I see those. I read about the post. I got even more excited. I clicked the post, I read it. And, even though it's sort of a smaller update, I'm still pretty excited about it. So before I start reading it and giving my thoughts, I just want to say welcome to everybody. Hi, my name is Brian. I like role-playing games a lot. I am super into Baldur's Gate 3 right now, though. In fact, that's all I'm posting right now. I got so excited about this game, I decided to record myself talking about it every once in a while and put it on the internet, because that's what people can do nowadays. So if you're in the very niche group of people into computer role-playing games, specifically Baldur's Gate 3, and want to hear another guy talking about Baldur's Gate 3 a lot, YouTube's got buttons for that. There's a subscribe button that's gonna make me pop up on your feed more often if that's something you're into. There's a like button. I think that makes me pop up on other people's feeds more often. They do things. And YouTube knows what they do. I don't. Well, whatever. Do what you want, because that's what I'm doing. All right, so let's see what they've got to say about this big news for Baldur's Gate 3. All right, so I'm reading the blog post here, and like I said, it's a quick update. Basically, like hey, we're here and we're working on it, which is great. When you don't hear from a company for a while, you start, things start going on in your head if you're, like an anxious individual that hasn't gotten a text from a friend in a while. Wow, that's pretty specific. Anyway, yeah. New features will be live before the year is out, accompanied by a festive panel from hell. They're also stating that they're on track for release in 2023, which is great news because they've said that before and there's really no reason to think they lied or anything like that, but you never know. Things come up, things get a little more difficult. We know that they're expanding as a company. So, some doubts can enter our heads here and there, and they're reassuring us that they're confident in that timeline. And I like that. I like being updated on that. Acts 2 and 3 are being play tested to ensure the same level of polish. Now that, it's a dubious claim that it'll have the same level of polish as what Early Access is giving us. They also mentioned that Early Access players are going to have new stuff to encounter on the full playthrough. And I always suspected that. I don't think my Act 1 experience in Early Access is going to be exactly what I get in the full release. I always assumed there's going to be more, but I like that they're sort of setting that in stone. The bulk of the blog post talks about their motion capture technique and opening a new studio. This is something I'm very unfamiliar with, so I'm just going to briefly talk about it. I'm very familiar with Neil Newbon. If you don't follow him on Instagram, he's got a fun Instagram to follow if you're into voice acting and, of course, motion capture. Again, it's not my expertise, it's not my field, but the technology sounds impressive. It's something I suggest reading on your own if it's something you're more familiar with. I'm excited that they mention new content. What is that new content? I don't know, but I have hopes and dreams, just like everybody. I want to see them fill out the base class selection from 5e. I want to see the Paladin and the Monk implemented. I'm not very excited about the Monk from 5e. I don't like it in tabletop. I think it plays worse than any other class. I love the Paladin. I absolutely love playing a Paladin. I like most of the subclasses available for the Paladin. My favorite is the Vengeance, so I really hope that's going to be the one implemented in Early Access, and it is a Player's Handbook subclass, so there's that. In terms of races, we're missing some Player's Handbook races, but there was also some data mining results earlier in the life of Early Access. I'm not going to go into detail here because maybe you're not into spoiler stuff like that, so you can go check out the channels that did it. I believe Chublot was a good one for it. But yeah, there was some data mining results that suggested there's at least an intent to have racial options beyond the Player's Handbook. Level 5. I think everybody wants level 5. I want level 5. We want level 3 spells. We want cantrip progression. We want extra attack for our marshals. There's a lot of big stuff that happens in level 5. I don't just want to see it in Early Access. I think it's important to have in Early Access because a lot changes for a lot of classes at level 5. So there's a lot worth testing there. So that's my argument for why I feel like level 5 is at least likely to happen within Early Access. In terms of new classes, I mentioned before I'm a big Paladin fan. I want to see how Divine Smite is going to play out. I don't think I'll be particularly pleased with it, with the way reactions are handled in Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I know Divine Smite is not a reaction, but I feel like the way it's run in tabletop is not the way it's going to be implemented in Baldur's Gate 3. But typically, you get to choose if you want to apply the Divine Smite after you see your hit roll. So you can hold it for a critical hit. It seems like it might be more of a toggle thing in Baldur's Gate 3, where you'll have like, I would like to smite if possible on my attacks. And when the attack lands, you just apply a smite. You're also able to select the spell slot level you use for it. So there's a lot of on-the-fly decision-making as written for Divine Smite. And I don't know how that'll be implemented in Baldur's Gate 3. But here's why I'm still okay with that. Even if it takes what I would consider to be a nerf there, that's going to open me up to actually cast spells as a paladin. I might actually use my spell slots for something beyond smiting. I'll cast Bless. They're also another martial that will experience extra attack at level 5. Now, the monk is something I'm less excited for. At its core, as written, that is. I am excited to see how Larian implements the monk. I think they're not afraid to make the classes their own, as we've seen with some of the ones implemented currently. When it comes to their subclass, which is their monastic tradition, I think the Shadow Monk thematically speaks to me most. They're the very stealthy, moderate spellcasting, thriving in darkness class. And again, another martial that gets extra attack at level 5. So I think, even with the new classes, level 5 is still on the horizon as something important to bring up. And that's it, really. I mean, it's just a quick update. I don't like speculating too much. I mean, I do, but I think a lot of people come to the same conclusions when they're speculating, so what's the point of me putting more out there? Hopefully we can see the Dragonborn race. We can see the Half-Orc race. And hopefully we'll be able to see some multi-classing. I have a feeling, even though again, that's something very important to test out, very important to get bug reports on, I'm not sure if we're going to see that in early access, especially with full release sort of closing in. But hey, I think it would be great. And that's going to change how a lot of classes play out. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this blog post here. Again, I'm really excited. Whatever it's going to be, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy what comes out. But until then, all we can do is just wait and speculate. And of course, play more Baldur's Gate. And yes, those rhyme. All right, take care, everybody.